Hi, folks, this is Mountain Man. Where am I coming from? I'm coming to you from parts unknown. I hope everyone is doing well. And I appreciate everybody who shows up tonight and everybody who watches after the live stream. So anyway, Operation Python, I dubbed what's going on from a 40,000-foot view. Operation Python. We're slowly putting the pressure on them, squeezing them, and not just in Iran. Foreign and domestic. Oh, Eric Swallwell. He got a little surprise at the airport, and I bet you Pina Navarro was just laughing his fanny off. Yeah, how do you like it now, big boy? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of other stuff. But what do? I play videos while people come in, settle in, get themselves a nice cup of coffee or a cold brouhaha or an adult beverage of their choice. And then, I'm going to play this one again. Play this one I wanted to play last night and forgot. What are we going to do? We'll be like butter and get on a roll.
Corralled into this box where we either have to hate Vladimir Putin and believe everything evil that's said about him and love Ukraine, and there's no in between. And that reminds me a lot of you're either a white supremacist or you go with the Democrat narrative on everything under the sun.
The most lethal terrorist threat to the homeland today, white supremacy.
And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white.
I mean, there's as much interference here as you could possibly imagine. Before you even get to Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, Mitt Romney, and all of their children who earn millions from Ukrainian gas companies. These days, it's hard to believe anything because they've lied about COVID, they lied about Russia collusion, they lied about the Ukraine impeachment trial, and there's so much more going on in Ukraine that nobody is talking about.
Does Ukraine have chemical or biological weapons?
My job as a journalist is to try to understand what is the truth here. I don't like being lied to, and we're being lied to on an epic scale. When we're told your only choice is you have to be 100% with Zelensky. Slava Ukraina. The puppet who you can find on the internet in black stilettos and leather pants. Zelensky was selected like so many of our leaders. And honestly, with big tech and with election fraud these days, we don't know how many leaders all around the world have been selected for us and weren't actually voted in.
How to build back better.
We have to build back better.
Build back better.
If Donald Trump gets the Republican nomination, there are many of us that will move heaven and earth to ensure he doesn't win.
We are fighting the same battles all over the world. To pretend that this war is about Russia and Ukraine is a barefaced lie. Putin has been warning for 15 years that he is not going to stand by while the globalists take over the world, build bioweapons facilities and whatever else they're doing in Ukraine. Ukraine has been a center of money laundering for many of the leaders in this country. Billions of US dollars have been laundered through Ukraine, and we say nothing about it. Does nobody question these things? We have an idiot like Lieutenant Colonel Vindman.
Mr. Vindman.
Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
Do you always insist on civilians calling you by your rank?
And sits there as a lieutenant colonel. He didn't even make colonel. And he's telling the president of the United States what his policy should be. You have a traitor in the form of Maria Yovanovitch, who was Obama's ambassador, who's telling Ukrainian government officials, don't listen to the will of the American people.
In his July 25th phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky, the president badmouthed Yovanovitch, calling her bad news.
I was shocked, absolutely shocked.
And then she's given a cushy job for life at Georgetown University, and we're told that the president of the United States cannot say to his foreign counterparts that we want you to look into something.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. And they put in place someone who was solid.
So much hypocrisy and dishonesty here, and Ukraine is at the center of it all.
Is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard...
Storm zone.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm they're talking about.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be
the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he perceives as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Hi, folks. Yes, we will. The gloves are off. Now that the gloves are off. So, anyway, Operation Python. We put the squeeze on them this time around. And, there were two prominent people in Congress. The two that had the closest ties to China after what's her face? Dianne Feinstein. Okay? She's gone now, gone. That left two people with the closest ties to China. Who are they? Say it in the chats. Robert's here, Todd's here, Sissy's here, Darla's here. Nice to see you. Or if you're watching after broadcast, put it in the comments. Robert, nice to see you. All right. Sherry's here. Let's see. Rain, nice to see you. Rebecca, Brett's here. Emma, yeah, I keep having people asking about Game Over, and I will say it again. We do not know who sings the song. Okay, Game Over. A lot of people say, what's the title? They only say Game Over 50,000 times. What do you think the title is? It's crazy. Like Itsy Bitsy Spider. What's the name of that song? I don't know. Wayne, nice to see you. Says, give me thumbs up. And I know you all are giving me thumbs up. Helps the video to get around. All right. Melinda, nice to see you. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Cole's here. We got to get your better half, other half. I would have a friend, I'd say, this is my left-hand man. Instead of right hand. They'd look at you like, well, what are you talking about? Hi, Miss Mindersu. All right, nice to see you. Oh, let's see who else coming in here. Who were the two that I'm thinking of? KNS Cleanup, nice to see you. Brush. Brush said McConnell Hochul. No, I said in Congress now. I said Congress, Brush. So, yeah, Wanda's here. Pappy Two Bears. And, let's see. Let's see what's going on. So, yeah, you got half of it right, Brush. Did I miss somebody taking a guess? Mitch McConnell, his wife, multi-millionaire. And we all know that after Mitch McConnell fell down or whatever, fell out or malfunction, or whatever you want to say, she went straight to China, right? And that her family has huge interests in financial interests in trans Pacific, Atlantic, or whatever shipping, bringing stuff probably to Walmart. But anyway, and then there's another person whose family has that connection. Who is it in Congress? And I'll wait and see if anybody takes a guess. Oh, I'm simulcasting on Kick. So I don't know what's going to go on with that platform. I might have somebody talk to me about. I didn't get back with them on the email, but I don't know how the thing works. I don't need to be giving out my ID and my social, and I'm not doing all that stuff. Just not going to do it. I'll just have to. People will have to love me from afar. So I mentioned Feinstein, Miss Minister. She's gone. Ha ha. You know, I told a story a long time ago about if you want to hide something, especially when a man is involved, you know where you hide it? Right under their nose. How many times have you wives out there heard your husband upstairs say, "Where's my belt?" Under your nose. Oh, there it is. They can't find nothing. So, yeah, hi, Reddy. All right, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're hanging in there. Yeah, plain sight. Anyway, I'm teasing because I got the person's name in plain sight. Eric Swallwell. Those are the two we talked about years ago as having the most direct ties to the CCP through family members. Eric Swallwell's parents are heavily involved in shipping to the United States and buying retail, okay, stuff for retail sales, wholesale purchases. They're multi-millionaires too. And when you add Fang Fang in the picture, he's right up there with Mitch McConnell. Other than Feinstein, I don't know anybody with that strong a tie. Okay, and I'm telling you this, Bob Menendez going to prison, a sitting senator giving up his seat and going to the big house, barely reported by the news. Most people you talk to on the street have no idea about him or what he did. And if it had been a Republican or anyone tied to Donald Trump, it would be on the top news story day after day after day after day. But Bob Menendez, gold bars, all right, and his wife, people barely know anything about it. And so here with Swallwell, it's the same thing. A lot of people don't know about him, his family member, and his family ties. But, when Jared Kushner says Hamas might disarm, Jared Kushner, and they start citing all these business interests and ties and agreements or contracts he's had for the past 10 years, Jared Kushner. And what the hell's he got to do with the price of tea in Mongolia? You know, we're talking a sitting senator. And here you have Eric Swalwell. He didn't give up his seat, not for nothing, right? We knew something was up. Something was coming. And so did he. So did he. So, by the way, folks, in case you're interested, happy birthday. Yeah, whatever. Bill Clinton, yeah. You feel my pain. I know you do. Anyway, it's his birthday. Happy birthday, Bill Clinton. Eric Swalwell got arrested and got his phones confiscated at the airport. And they raided his house and got his computers and probably corralled his wife and her shenanigans And I wonder if they went to his parents. I don't know. I would say so. I would say they're being looked at rather harshly, strongly, as Trump would say. We're looking at them strongly. So anyway, here it is. Is this about Swallwell? I'm not sure. Fox News, alert, alert, alert. I don't know. If it's a different subject, we'll talk about whatever the subject is.
Breaking news, we have just learned that the FBI has seized former Congressman Eric Swallwell's electronics, and this happened on Saturday. They took those electronics from him at San Francisco International Airport on Saturday and then from his Washington, D.C. home on Sunday. Eric Swallwell was not detained or arrested, and we're told the federal investigation involves sexual misconduct allegations against him. 2 women who have spoken publicly about sex misconduct allegations against Swallwell we know about. The FBI is not commenting further details on this case, and Fox News has contacted Swallwell's attorney. We're waiting to hear back.
I don't think you're going to hear back from them. Something tells me they're not going to return your call. Oh, yeah, we want to tell you all about the raid on our house. So I don't think so. No comment. But anyway, so, you know, who else is getting a hint? Who else is getting a hint that they're going to be looked at very strongly? Who else? Now, think about it, folks. We've been talking about it, and I've been encouraging everyone to do a 40,000-foot view. I call it Operation Python. And you know what? I watched a video of Victor David Hansen, and he was talking about the Iranians. And he called it a anaconda strategy. He did that. He said that yesterday, or a video I saw this morning. And I said, oh man, I've been talking about like a python. What do you like better, python or anaconda? I like python. Mr. Goldbar, right? Yeah. That's what they should call him. But anyway, there's old Swallwell. Who's next? Taking that 40,000-foot view. Now, this happened Saturday. And yesterday I was saying I was going to put up the Swallwell breaking wind. I knew something was going to happen with him, I mean. But, see, a lot of people say, oh, we've been talking about arrests for forever and ever, and it never happens. So, you know, people say, well, it's not going to happen. Well, yeah, what's happening now? Who's next, folks? That's what I got my title. Take a minute and take a guess. Not the very next, but on the list. Here we go with another video about Swallwell. What is this thing? I can barely read it. What is this? Oh, unclassified. What were we talking about? D-class. Bona fide campaign contribution. How many others? Now, she was being tracked as to go into other congressional offices. Okay? Is this going to suck in some more people? I would say. All right, I got 2 guesses. No, I got 1 guess from Robert Schiff. Adam was a $7.8 million worth it. That's not who I'm thinking about. We watch the maestro, okay, which is Donald J. Trump. But let me play this video.
I will work on the audio-visual capabilities. I'm going to borrow your terminology and call bullshit on your entire career in Congress. It has been a disgrace to the American people. You can reclaim your time all you want.
Mr. Chairman, you're going to allow a witness to speak this way? Mr. Chairman, would you recuse yourself,
The gentleman has no time.
Mr. Chairman, would you admonish the witness not to insult members?
The gentleman has no time.
Mr. Chairman, just
committee will remember.
Quick point of order. Could the gentleman be extended an additional 20 seconds to complete his thoughts, since the witness decided to interrupt him continuously?
And the witness will be able to respond if he wants. We'll make sure he has time to do that.
My question is, will you, Director, recuse yourself, yes or no, from investigating or making decisions about the 60 individuals, including myself, that you identified as government gangsters? Yes or no?
Time of the gentleman has expired. The witness may respond if he would like.
And the answer was no, as I heard.
Correct. Okay. The gentleman from Wisconsin. The gentleman.
Anyway, hypocrite, caught red-handed. There's going to be a lot of stuff being played about Eric Swallwell. And I'll tell you who I think is going to be. Maxine Waters is a very good guess. But Donald Trump said just yesterday, what was the most? Who lost an election? And I am sure they're sweating. They're sweating. Because you watch this video that I played at the beginning with Laura Logan. And it all goes to Ukraine. The current situation all goes that way, in that direction. And there, Todd gets a Cupid doll. Hello, Mr. Kibler's here. Roland's here. Yes, Alexander Vindman. But what's her name? Not Maxine. Maxine. It's kind of like with what's her face? Oh my goodness. What's her name? Feinstein. She's so old. I mean, it's like, be punching down, picking on an old person. Young Earth creationist has no explanation for the fact that Nancy Pelosi is 12,000 years old. You remember Donald Trump said one time about Nancy Pelosi, I don't know why she's worried about this stuff. She's not even going to be alive. Remember that? And they may be looking the same way with Maxine Waters. This operation, by its very nature, has got to take a period of time. If we're to do things in the under the strategy of the Great Awakening, where the people take back their own government, that they're given the ability to have free and fair elections and make the right choices. It by its very nature is going to take a lot of time. And say they put up some case with Maxine Waters. It'd be 2 years before it even goes to trial. And there would be all this talk of, it's political retribution and all this kind of stuff. Well, they can't very well say that with Swallwell. He resigned. He's a non-entity politically now. He is a person looking at criminal charges. And anyway, so people like Pelosi and Maxine Waters and Mitch McConnell, okay? I saw a story about where he froze and stared at nothing while he was being asked questions about very simple procedures in the Senate, like the day before he had his reported collapse. And you don't know what their role is. It ain't the first time where somebody that they got dead to rights, kind of like a Robert Mueller type. They say, look, we got you. You committed treason, or you committed some huge felony, some huge crime, and we got you. if we want you, but you won't play along? You want to be part of the show? Which part of the show you want to be on? And we'll protect your reputation to a certain degree, but you're not going to be free. You're going to have to answer to us, and you're going to have to do what we tell you. That's not the first time. Hi, Mac, how you doing? And it won't be the last. Plenty of people walking around that if they weren't going to give material assistance, they would be in jail or worse. So, people like Maxine Waters and Mitch McConnell, you never know if that's the case with them. So anyway, and it gives the enemy a false sense of power. Here's a video Jack Posobiec put up. Well, now it's about, they mentioned this. He gets mentioned. I'll put it up in a second. I won't play this. Jesse Waters talking about this lunatic. How the hell have we fallen so far? Look at what we have become. Look at this Democrat Party, what they've become. I made a comment tonight, and I don't know, somebody might get in the chats. It's a little wild. Let them babble. Don't attack them. But I said something about communism, socialism is just tyranny. That's all it is. If you're complaining that certain people are running the capitalist system and you try to switch it out for socialism, who the hell you think is going to be running any system? The elites, the ones with the Swiss watches, right? And fancy cars and decades and centuries of being in power, okay? Principalities. And they're just going to run whatever utopian system you think you're making. And the only difference is, under a communist society, there is zero possibility of voting your way out of it. Zero. It'll be 1,000 years of darkness, as Ronald Reagan said. At least with this system, do you think Donald Trump would be where he is as president if it wasn't for capitalism? Do you think Elon Musk would be having the influence he has over Twitter if he hadn't made himself a billionaire via the capitalist system? And those are only two people that are being a force for freedom and the ability to speak freely and listen freely. And that's the genesis of liberty, okay? Freedom of speech. But I had I didn't get all that. I just said, capital or communism is just another form of tyranny. And some guy came and wrote about 2 paragraphs of babble, like I haven't heard this crap all my life. For the past 60 years, I've been listening to the socialist mantra and the same talking points about fairness and equity and blah, 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 and how evil capitalism is because of people's greed. Like they haven't been talking about that for thousands of years. So my response was, who the hell do you think is going to run your utopian system? And how do you think if they don't do it right? Because there's no right way to do communism or socialism. But if you feel that you are being wronged, you feel if you're being put in the fields digging up potatoes with a pistole to the back of your head, and you say, I don't like this. What are you going to do about it? What can you do about it? Nothing. Forever. Your children, if you ever have any, is no way out. There's no escape. But at least with a capitalist system, people can rise to positions where they can make a difference. So anyway, we got this Florida's Red Scare, Jesse Waters.
Ange is putting the cart before the horse. She's not in D.C. yet. And she probably won't get there after Florida voters find out where she goes with her kids.
I don't understand, like, there's no sexualization at a drag show. It's just people dressing up and singing and performing. I've taken my children to drag shows, and it's fun. It's entertainment. It's wholesome entertainment.
Trump's advisors say they couldn't have picked a better candidate. When Crazy Angie's not dragging her kids to drag shows, she's storming the Capitol, which Democrats say is a big no-no.
So we are occupying the floor like John Lewis, like all of them. We're making good trouble. We're doing good trouble. We are the people, mighty, mighty people, the mighty, mighty people, fighting for justice, fighting for justice.
Angie the agitator is going to make a scene at the State of the Union.
That's all Obama was. They called him a community organizer. All he was an agitator. He didn't know anything. There wasn't any damn constitutional scholar. But listen to what she does with her children. You know, back in my day and many of your all's day, you'd be in jail if you did that. If you exposed your children to those kind of behaviors. And you'd be convicted. You'd be tried and convicted by a very angry jury. But now we have lunatics. We have lunatics on juries. Lunatics like the Wiccan Witch on Donald Trump's grand jury. So, speaking of lunatics, well, I'm going to play a little bit. I'm going to show a little bit more about this crazy woman. Here's something Laura Loomer put up. That this woman put up back in 2025. Angie Nixon calling Donald Trump the R word. Donald Trump is nothing more than a racist white supremacist. Shame on him. She stands with Ilhan Omar. Yes, somebody that shouldn't even be in this country and has assisted in and participated in ripping off, looting, ransacking our country of billions of dollars. Oh, wait a minute. But she's got support. Look here. Bernie Sanders endorses Angie Nixon for Florida U.S. Senate. What did I tell you about him years ago? And, I know a lot of people that support Donald Trump right now were Bernie bros. Bernie bros. Okay, the socialist lemonade. People say Kool-Aid. I'll say lemonade. And I made people mad at me. Had a lot of people leave my channel, so I'm sorry. But I'm right. Bernie Sanders is nothing but a tyrant in waiting. That's what someone who espouses communism, because they, in their minds, are going to be running it. They're going to be running it. Communism is great if you are in charge. But if you're just a regular person, it's hell on earth. Literal hell on earth. Here is a CNN personality. I haven't watched this yet, but actually gets fed up with a guest talking good about socialism, communism, whatever you want to call it. But like I said, there's something going on at CNN. because they put out that report that we're getting our oil from somewhere. Something's going on, and there's more oil than people are letting on in the media. CNN put that out. And now you have this guy supposedly dressing down this socialist in a hurry. That's a communist, is a socialist in a hurry.
I get your criticism of foreign policy. As I said, it's not an uncommon one. But lauding Fidel Castro is a different story. You talk about what things were like before the revolution in Cuba. I'll give you a personal example. My grandfather was a revolutionary in Cuba during that time. He was affected by a previous dictator, Fulgencio Batista, having his friends disappeared in the street for speaking their minds. My grandfather found that revolution, hoping to bring democracy to Cuba. And then what happened? Fidel Castro locked my grandfather up, sentenced to 20 years for doing what you're doing now on live TV, for speaking his mind, for expressing himself freely, for trying to organize politically. So I wonder, again, how you think that lands with people who suffered under that dictatorship, who now you are trying to court as voters when your organization comes out and lauds 100 years of Castro. I don't think it would land well with them, Ashik.
We're seeing many people in the United States who are seeing who are struggling under massive inequality in the United States.
Massive inequality of the United States. What a nerd. What a jerk. And you know what I said during that back and forth in the comments where this guy was giving me a multiple paragraph babble about the benefits of socialism. I just said, look, you are not going to run me, okay? And you can rot in hell, comrade. That's what I said in the comments. But I spelled hell, H-E double capital I, okay? So it wouldn't catch the rhythm. And that's what it boils down to. They want to run me. They want to run everybody. They want to decide what's equitable and fair. And they can't even spell equitable. I put up a post about Robert De Niro because he's got an ego. Like I said before, his head's so big you can't get him through the door. But he's learning his lesson with Zohran Mamdani plucking his feathers in New York, and Mamdani's laughing in his face. But I'm bringing up him because somebody posted this. Remember what I said about no fool like an old fool? Who put this up? Sin Analyze put this up. Robert De Niro became a father again at 79. How many of you are buying this? How many of you are buying this? 79 years old. How many times have I said that old saying, mama's baby, daddy's maybe? But anyway, he'll never learn. He'll never change. Robert De Niro, sucker, a chump, a fool. Mamdani's plucking his feathers and somebody else is doing something. But anyway, they're delusional. And they have an inflated sense of self. And if you pop that bubble, man, they go berserk. That's men and females too, like Rosie O'Donnell. She went to Ireland and I guess forestalled a nervous breakdown over Trump winning, and got her head remodeled, and then got some deals to come back and make some money in America. But I don't know, Brush. I thought she was too, but I didn't want to say anything because I wasn't sure. Apparently, it looked like an Asian kid to me. Well, Sissy, they said, remember who played Felix Unger? Tony Randall. Tony Randall. Y'all can Google it if you want to. How old was Tony Randall when he had his child? Allegedly. Have a little fun with it. Look it up. And I wasn't broadcasting very much back then, but I rolled my eyes. I said, yeah, right, Tony Randall. That's your kid. Sure. Now maybe they had some kind of procedure. I don't know. What's her name? Occasional Cortex is freezing her eggs. So he could have had her, and then use Occasional Cortex's eggs and plant them in Rosie O'Donnell's body, using Robert De Niro's dehydrated, what is that, spermosa? And God, what would you come up with then? Oh, I know. This right here. James Salacaro. Yeah, I just told you all his pedigree, how he came about. But I just put this clip up and put it up a little early because Carmelo Anthony is trying to get another trial. He thinks he's been wronged. Because he's 35-year maximum, okay? He could be out, 10 years. Who knows? Carmelo Anthony. Shocking murder fantasies revealed in appeal hearing. Licking the red stuff off the blade. That's what they want to put in. If he does get a new trial, we're going to go to that. Where he's talking about how he wanted to really do that to a person. Bill Werski told the court that one text message involved a fantasy about STABBing someone and licking the red stuff off the blade. So anyway, James Salacaro. Wait. Did I have another story about that? I think Diamond Silk put up something about it. Carmelo. Yeah, here he is. Revealed. Carmelo Anthony's ex-boyfriend told school officials he was stalking her, obsessed over knives and guns, hours before the event. So he was being aggressive, being furtive and predatory, and had himself worked up, right? And that's what happened. So anyway, James Salacaro sitting here, I believe this is a clip where he said, it wasn't fair because there weren't any, quote, black people on the jury. Wait a minute. A lot of people pointed out that it was a multi-race jury, okay? There were people of color, okay? But anyway, here is the hybrid human I was just describing to you.
Of Texas, we see what happened with Carmelo Anthony, and you said it was a tragedy.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
Well, I've done a lot of work in the State House on justice reform, and right now we've got a system that doesn't serve all Americans equally, and we know that black Texans have been have not gotten the justice they deserve in many cases. And I'm not an expert on this particular case, but I know that there were no black members of the jury, and to me, that's the only evidence you need to really prove that this system is not working for black Texans.
So Tony Randall was a year younger than De Niro. Okay, well, it's probably, I thought he was in his 80s. I thought he was like 82. So, all right, well, still 78. Way to go, Randy. Way to go, Robert De Niro. You guys are studly. But anyway, so yeah, there's Salacaro. What does Trump call him? Alfred E. Newman. People are saying that there's the polls. The polls are saying that he could flip Texas. Are you all buying that? And what did we hear last night about polls? That company got busted. Oh, no, we didn't get busted. We were doing an experimental poll. an experimental poll. It's not accurate. It's a fake poll, but we were doing it for research. So I see these panic polls, but hey, we got to act like they can flip Texas. We got to buck up and be there when we need to be there and vote. Because once they get in power, we're finished. You can't vote your way out of it. But anyway, so there's James Talicaro. And so this demonic woman is in the lead. Here's a video of her. And she mentions Charlie Kirk. This is when they were going to pass something in Congress to honor him after he was brutally murdered, right?
Our chains are anti-Semitism, which is something that Charlie Kirk stood for. Our chains are racism, which is something that Charlie Kirk stood for. Our chains are attacks on the Muslim community, which is something that Charlie Kirk stood for. Our chains are anti-blackness. Our chains are misogyny, which is everything that Charlie Kirk stood for. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love and protect one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains. This bill that you brought forth today is a slap in the face of Black people, particularly Black parents, because I have kids in public schools who may potentially have to remember and honor Charlie Kirk with all the foolishness that he said.
Yeah, she didn't want to honor Charlie Kirk. She sat there and berated him and threw out a bunch of slurs about him. I got another clip here, but I want to say, hi, tan suit. You're new here, but you're mispronouncing every lib's name isn't a flex you think it is. You're talking to me? You sound dumb with a B. Who did I said James Talicaro. Oh, you're talking about occasional cortex. That's not mispronouncing a name. That's not mispronouncing a name. It's a description, tan suit. Occasional cortex, as in functioning, occasionally. So anyway, here she is again. Here she is again. Talking smack about somebody who brutally had their life taken from them by someone who's sympathetic to the things she takes her children to. And, yeah, one of your people, okay, Miss Nixon, one of your people did that to Charlie.
This bill to members of my community, Black people, feels like a bill brought straight from the KKK. This bill, like based on the comments alone, illustrates why we should not memorialize this man. It is causing hate, division, anger, frustration, and it's blatantly just trying to sanitize what this guy was about. But I get it, right? Hate and cruelty is the point. It's okay in this legislative body to be anti-Black.
So the victimhood. It's okay to be anti-Black. Like Trump said, she's low IQ. She can barely speak. She has been catapulted to a position of power when she is probably of the same class, the same ilk, ILK, that can't even read or write. And all they have to do is be a degenerate, be a Marxist, rally their troops, and they get a job. They get comfort. They get power. They get resources. They get the microphone. And they can sit up there on their perch and say such horrible things about Charlie Kirk. But what happens to them when they get exposed? What happens to them? Remember what we were reading in the 17th letter. Do you know what a side hotline? Right? You know what a side hotline. Here we go. Here's what they're putting out in the UK over this person that got everything I just told you King got. Okay? And what was the other one that we just got out with the eyelashes 3 feet long? What the hell's her name? Crockett. Here's the one in over in the UK. Here's the way they put it. The tragic death of Jason Arday raises serious questions about race, institutional authority, and what happens to people in a society increasingly organized around public reputation. What did our founding fathers say? They were willing to risk to forge this country. Hi, Greg. How you doing? Yeah, these people are installed. That's why I talked about the video I played at the very beginning with Laura Logan. Yeah. Anyway, what did the founding fathers say? They were willing to sacrifice, put on the line. Three things. But these people are saying, what happens to people in a society increasingly organized around public reputation? That this tragedy was because people worry too much about your reputation. They put forth, they were willing to sacrifice their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. Okay? Sacred honor, their reputations. So this individual was acting like a degenerate, okay? Was a fraud, a plagiarist, was ignorant, was ignorant by he didn't know how to read and write. Not to the level of an average 1960s high school student, for sure. He espoused Marxist ideology, degenerate sociology, and he was handed everything. And what happened when his fantasy world crumbled? What happened to Jason Arday is a tragedy that demands reflection. The Guardian's editorial team. What was the movie we saw now playing? Guardians of the P3DO Files. Remember? Legitimate scrutiny became entangled with racial argument about merit and diversity. And the former Cambridge College professor, he wasn't a professor, he was a fraud. He could not fulfill the role of being a professor. His expiration raises question about how society treats black success and failure. No, it doesn't have anything to do with his color. You got plenty of frauds running. Look at occasional Cortex. Look at Eric Swallwell. And in a polarized world, who's polarizing it? I'll tell you where it really took off was Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And in a polarized world, it should see the media Ask how proper scrutiny can widen into something more encompassing. How race affects the meaning attached to an individual's alleged failings. You're the one bringing it up. And whether separate valid stories can, via social media, have an overwhelming impact. Oh, what are you talking about? Pulling a lockdown on social media so we don't cause tragedies? That our words and our discussions don't cause a tragedy? I would say the people using this kind of rhetoric are the ones causing it. The ones who are putting ignoramuses in positions of high-profile responsibility are the cause, okay? Look at this ass. El Sayed. Yeah, ass. El Sayed aide likens GOP opponent's campaign video with Ford pickup to KKK cross burnings. Well, I'll tell you what. That's International Harvester Red, that truck. You know how I know? Because my truck's the same color. Why do you have it that color? So when you got to paint your tractor, you don't have to buy different paint. Your truck and your tractor are red. All right. But anyway, a Democrat campaign staffer compared a Republican Senate candidate's vintage Ford campaign to a KKK cross burning. What a lunatic. And now the GOP candidate is firing back. Mike Rogers posted. Now they're showing Mike Rogers up by 51 and Sayed at like 48.7 or something. Do you believe that? Is Michigan that damn far gone? If it is that close, we have got people who swore an oath to our Constitution and they had no understanding of the Constitution or were being disingenuous and dishonest and should be thrown the hell out of this country. Mike Rogers posted a clip from Michigan's Woodward Dream Cruise showing him riding in an old Ford pickup with American flags flying and Toby Keith playing. After Abdul Sayed's staffer blasted the imagery, Rogers' campaign mocked the criticism, saying apparently driving a Michigan-made Ford truck is akin to the KKK. El Sayed's campaign told Fox News Digital the comments were the staffer's personal views and don't represent the campaign. In a pig's eye, of course it represents the campaign. There was a clip of him floating around where he's talking about he's an outsider just like Jesus. And then he says, praise be Jesus' name. Act like he has any affinity for Christ's teaching, Deceivers. Yeah, that makes me want to put up this post. Where did it go? Here he is. Abolish ICE. El Sayed's mother. Now, his wife put up a post about praising October 7th, or what was it, October 7th? And now his mother's saying, abolish ICE. She worked for a group designated by the U.S. as supporting terrorism. His father-in-law held on leadership positions with organizations named as unindicted co-conspirators in the Holy Land Foundation terror financing trial. We have people that are divorced from reality if they think that can coexist in our constitutional republic. Defeat Democrats put up, this will be controversial, but it's time to reinstate the McCarran-Walter Act. Have you all heard of this? This might be something to get a screenshot of and research it. I'm going to check into it later on. I already know about the Communist Control Act. That's good enough for me. Act of 1952, forbidding Muslims from holding public office in America. Well, you go up to New Jersey, they got Palestinians running around with Palestinian flags on their police outfits, and they have police powers, and they're non-citizens, and they can pull you over and lock you up, do whatever they want. That shouldn't be allowed either. But it is. If this isn't trying to destroy our country, I don't know what the hell is. These people are being taken seriously, and they're so-called winning elections. Here. Dems trans kid enthusiast Senate candidate Peggy Flanagan claimed Minnesota was built on white supremacy. It's what the state has been built on. And unless we tackle it in a really aggressive way, we're not going to see the systematic change we need. The only thing that's going to get us out of this, and I don't mean next election, I mean right now, is free and fair honest elections. Fair and honest elections. Because how do you vote people out that cheat? How do you vote people out that oppress and suppress you? If they can just make up numbers. Make up polls to get people discouraged and not even go. But, you know, it is a fundamental problem we've got. You know, there's videos going around like this. Florida momfluencer. It's the first time I heard of that term. Have you all heard that term before? I just got a sip of my coffee. I apologize. Speaking of that, have you all heard mom influencer before? Momfluence. How do you say that? Somebody needs to get a daggone life. But I don't even know how to read this. But she's been put on an immigration hold. Pow! I put a link to buy me a coffee in the chats. How did she even get in this country? Wait a minute. Kapow! I want that Hebrew hammer. I haven't seen him tonight, but kaboom! For going buy me a coffee along with Wayne and Younger Gang. Kaboom! 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 This week helping out with buy me a coffee, and I thank Miss Mindersue and Gary and other stalwarts that watch me on the big screen. Kapow! Which is Mike and Bev. They're, I guess that's the three that help out the channel quite a bit. Anyway, I do appreciate it. They're totally viewer-supported channel, so if you all want to help out with Buy Me a Coffee, I appreciate it. Link is in the chats at the 103 mark. But anyway, Florida mom influencer hit with immigration hold after filming herself pouring hot wax on children and setting fire to a kitchen. The defendant's estranged husband contacted authorities a week earlier before she did this, saying she had you-know-what-icidal behavior. What the hell is going on? And then after he called and said, look, I'm worried about this. And what do I do? You know, what do you do when you got a so-called spouse behaving this way? And then she posts this bizarre video. But I didn't talk about it the other night, but everybody is abuzz about this woman who is on trial for ending her own children's lives. 3 children. And, you know, we went through the Susan Smith thing where she wanted a new boyfriend and she drove her car into a pond and then ended her children's lives. She's coming up for parole. And here she is. And there's her, it breaks my heart to even see their pictures. Those kids. I mean, it's horrible. What is going on with our country? You have these weirdos taking their children to these degenerate trans whatever parties. And now there are people supporting this woman, Lindsay Clancy, but not Lauren Chen. She said if Lindsay Clancy had methodically strangled and killed 3 puppies instead of her own children, almost all of the women defending her now would instead be calling for her X3 accusation. And I mispronounce things, not because I'm dumb with a B, but because I can't say those things on this platform, okay? And that's what I said about Fauci. You look at the 40,000-foot view. There was a report out about Andrew McCabe is being criminally referred for his actions as FBI agent. Okay? You got Swallwell. You got Fauci. We've got so many people and Vindman that are being held up in spotlight, and it's going to end up in charges. But I said this about Fauci. Here we have, they're talking about he knew about the not midwife, but the miscarriages at 3rd trimester. And Ron Johnson saying, 80% of mothers lost their infants to miscarriages that got the jab, and Fauci knew about it. But nobody blew a cork. But you talk about the puppies with the beagles, which is terrible. I won't describe that again. The experiments he approved on that. These women go crazy. But not about their own children. So this Lindsay Clancy woman has a damn fan club. And it's satanic. I know a lot of people overuse that term, but it's starting to be more acceptable, more openly discussed. There's no other word for the scenes outside the Lindsay Clancy courthouse today than satanic. This is Jack Posobiec. It's satanic to want the deaths of God's children. It's satanic to want the destruction of the family. Miss Nixon. It's satanic to rally, to celebrate these things. And I'll show you some pictures of her. Oh, okay. We got tan suit. Trump said it'll come out tan suit. Where's Socialist Channel? Not a shred of evidence. Well, you've been living in the freezer, tan suit? They just put out about 300,000 people being registered to vote that aren't citizens, and they just put out from a examination of half the ballots, roughly, in the country, that 24,000 illegal aliens voted. What are you talking about, tan suit? And don't sit here and mock people and tell them to hide in their safe space and that I sound dumb. That's just chat farting. That's just pick and fight. You're not bringing up. You brought up the selection fraud thing, and I answered you. But you don't throw out insults and stuff, or I'll just kick you out of here. Did you hear what I just said? They have in their hands proof that 24,000 illegal aliens voted in the 2020 election, and they're not even halfway through going through the records. So, quit taking jabs at people in the chats that aren't bothering you, and have a rational discussion. Because the Python operation is coming. It's happening right now. And, I mean, you don't listen to what news you stay on Blue Sky, and you never hear those numbers, those facts that have been proven by the Department of Homeland Security. 24,000. Okay, so when you have something rational to say, what's this? And, what are you doing to talk about that? I'll get to that subject in a minute. But why would you talk about that when I'm talking about these 3 children that lost their lives and what's wrong with our society? And you're talking about nothing but evidence of election fraud. There's no evidence of election fraud when we've got over 250,000 illegal aliens registered to vote, and we got proof of 24,000 that actually voted. But what the hell's that got to do with this woman who took her children's lives and all these women across the country sticking up for that woman? What are you thinking about? Stick with the subject. Longtime Democrat voter rabbi announces vote will go to Mike Rogers. Abdul El-Sayed made one thing very clear. We cannot let him anywhere near the U.S. Senate. I used to have friends that were Jewish, and they voted Democrat. One of his name was Saul, an older guy. He was older than me. He's passed away now. But I was looking at him like, man, you got rocks in your head. But anyway, he's a nice guy, too, a businessman. I don't know why the hell he voted Democrat, but here.
I'm Rabbi Asher Lopatin from Huntington Woods. I usually vote Democrat, but I'm going to be voting for Mike Rogers. And I want to start out by saying, it's a little off script, that he's an incredible man. And the number one reason to vote for him, his policies, but who he is as a character, as a person, as a caring, sensitive man, I am voting for him. On the other hand, and I'm sad to say this, that Abdul El-Sayed has made one thing very clear. We cannot let him anywhere near the U.S. Senate. Sadly, tragically, he's shown contempt for the Jewish community and, frankly, for American values by making Hassan Piker a vicious anti-Semite and racist, his campaign surrogate, and someone he buddies up with before the primary and after the primary. He's never disavowed Hassan's anti-Semitism, a man who's called Orthodox Jews like me inbred. When Abdul El-Sayed was asked about the terrorist who attempted to blow up a synagogue right here in Michigan with hundreds of children, like Thaler, hundreds of children, all he said, hurt people, hurt people. Sadly, Abdul El-Sayed has shown only contempt for Jews as a people and called my people bloodthirsty, and the reason Michigan, our great state of Michigan, doesn't have the funds it needs. So sadly, Abdul El-Sayed is completely unfit to represent any piece of Michigan. The Jewish community, the African American community, the Chaldean, or even Arab Americans. So as someone who votes Democrat usually, I am proud this time to support Mike Rogers, and I encourage everyone to do so as well. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad you're waking up, buddy. You're like my old buddy Saul. Why are you voting Democrat? I got no idea, but I'm glad you're waking up. And yeah, I'm reading this stuff. Source. What are you talking about, source? The Department of Homeland Security. I want to ask you a question, Tansuit. And don't type nothing while I'm asking it because it shows me you're not listening to me, okay? If you type stuff while I'm talking to you directly, before I'm finished answering my question, I block you, okay? Because I know it's just a bunch of shit, you know? Do you agree with teachers approaching children about changing their gender? Yes or no, please. Do you agree with teachers approaching children about changing their gender? I'll be able to make up my mind real quick. That's okay. I want them to go on record. It's, you know, when someone is asked about a source for factual records that came out from the Department of Homeland Security. Okay, no. All right, you gave yourself a reprieve. That's good. That's good. Okay. So, yeah, there's cheating going on in the elections, massive cheating. And it'll come out. You say source, question mark. What's your source to say that there's no cheating? How do you ignore the broken pipe that never was? How do you ignore the vans running around at 3 o'clock in the morning delivering ballots to election sites? We all saw the videos. Just stick with that one. How do you explain vans unloading boxes of ballots in Georgia and other states at 3 o'clock in the morning the following day from the election? Not postal trucks, private vans. How do you answer that? What's your source to say that we're hallucinating? U.S. President Donald Trump said he's the only U.S. president to have good relationships with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. I do have a good relationship with Kim Jong-un. As you know, I've seen him. He didn't like Biden. He didn't like Obama. He didn't like anybody, but he likes me, he told reporters. I got along with him very good. We had great meetings. We speak. Well, it's better than throwing bombs at each other, I would suspect, wouldn't you say? Iran has enough foreign currencies to purchase medicine and goods in the next few months. Iranian central bank governor, however you repeat those words, I don't know. The central bank ensures a steady inflow of currency sufficient to meet the population's most basic needs. Increased confidence and greater accessibility to the foreign currency payment system have recently ensured uninterrupted flow of foreign currency for purchasing essential goods and medicine in the coming months. So, they're painting a rosy picture in Iran. And, you know, before they overthrew their own civilian government, they were saying that Tehran would have to be evacuated because their water systems were so decrepit, not because of bombing, not because of Trump's actions, that they can't supply enough water to Tehran. That was what the president said. And then they got kicked out. Yeah, they were crossing state lines, KNS. Trump's emergency address, he said the only election interference with Chinese advertising. I didn't hear that. I'd have to hear that clip. I'm sure there was some rigging going on, but that wasn't enough. We made it too big to rig. Just like here. Remember this, folks? Here we go. Just Jessica put this up. I put this map up before in the past. I put this map up about 3 years ago. 1984. The first year they made Republicans red. Reagan's first term, Republicans were blue and the Democrats were red. And anyway, so Reagan swept it, and Walter Mondale only won Minnesota, his home state, by like 2,400 votes. And Reagan did a stopover at an airport for 20 minutes, was the only time he visited Minnesota, because he didn't want to shame him. And that 2,400 votes, people are scratching their heads over where'd they come from. But anyway, 49 states. And what else? What else voted for the Democrat? D.C. Trump looks damn good for being 80 years old. You know, that's such childish things to say and disrespectful. I mean, if we said stuff about Obama, you guys would be losing your little tiny minds. This is the election results map from 1984 when Reagan destroyed Democrat leftist Mondale, and how it would look again today if we passed the Save America Act. So, tan suit, should people have ID to vote? Yes or no? Simple. Should you have an ID proving your identity to vote? Yes or no? Okay, you're just doing petty insults now. So I'm going to time you out, give you a little time to think about it. And see, what you're doing is you're throwing around insults, and you're trying to disrespect the chats and not be serious when I'm taking my precious time to talk to your dumb ass. Okay? So you're out for 5 minutes, and if you don't want to come back, fine. Nobody will miss you. And if you do come back, pay attention to the questions I ask you, and goodbye. For 5 minutes. You can do that standing on your head. Yeah, District of Communism. Yeah, just putting in nonsense. He's got diapers and a wig. You know, what an idiot. I mean, man's 80 years old and working his ass off for the country. And they come up with that stupidity. And he also called these 3 kids losing their lives a sob story, and this national phenomenon of women taking up for this murderess of her own children. I've got several clips outside the courthouse. Let me see. Yeah, what the hell is going on here? And you got people putting up TikTok videos. Remember, the internet's forever. What Tan Suit said was is going to be on the internet forever. And what I say, that's why I try to be careful. But he's got time out for 5 minutes, Todd. I timed him out for 5 minutes and gave him what the hell he's doing wrong. But anyway, here they are. People putting out TikTok videos saying the husband drove her to it, and she should be get some psychiatric pats on the head and be not go to jail. These are mentally ill women. They all got that look to them, don't they? The Karen Brigade. Look at them, all with the sunglasses. Oh, my God. Look at the crescent moon and the Palestine flag, the Ukrainian flag.
That are watching this, everybody's trying to learn from it, and they're showing their support in women's health care.
You know, not only are they offensive in their defense of this murderess, but they're agitating for the destruction of our country, waving foreign flags. And, yeah, I blame media and teachers. I timed him out, Lori. I forget what time it was. He'd be back in a minute if he wants to be back, but if he doesn't want to be back, fine, that's fine too. But here, Jack Posobiec put this up. Him and Charlie Kirk are walking and talking. And he said the Democrats are replacing black voters, trying to appeal to victimization because of race and all their. Now they're trying to attract wine box moms.
Think about how cool this would be if it's actually true. So, I just got a nugget from high-level Democrat to a Republican to me that said, holy crap, this black vote for Trump is real. In Pennsylvania.
I know who he's talking to, and it's somebody we have on our show. He's talking to a Democrat.
That screws up all their algorithms, right? Well, so what they're trying to do, I figured this out.
All their moms, right?
They're trying to replace black men with wine moms in the suburbs. So if they get that, but the problem is you need to turn out more.
Hence why she had Oprah, Lady Gaga.
Yeah, if you were listening, you would hear him say, that's what they're trying to replace them with. Here's some more of these lunatics. I think they are paid activists. I see that in the chats. What is it? Code? I call them Code Stink. Code Stink. They're all wearing pink. You know, so they take advantage of the fact that we live in a civil society by acting uncivil, you know, because they know we're civilized people. I got a little treat for you. We got Steve Miller. I got a couple of clips from him. And if you're out there, Tan, just listen. Listen, because and there's not one thing he's saying that's not true. If Trump hadn't got in, my God, what kind of country do you want? You want a country run by Sharia law? You want a country run where other nations charge us trillions in tariffs and we can't do anything about it? You want a nation that has to live under the threat of Muslim radicals having a nuclear bomb? And don't try to hand me that crap that Iran wasn't going to get a nuclear bomb. You'd have to be a complete idiot to not know that that was their goal. And Obama enabled them. And I posit to you that Obama knew damn good and well, because he supports the Muslim Brotherhood because he is Muslim. And I'm not using cheap insults describing Obama. I'm stating facts. I could say he's a big-eared whatever, but I'm not. I'm saying what's fact. He'll be exiled to Kenya before it's over with, or whoever the hell will take him. But I don't think he's going to be allowed to stay in this country.
The legacy media, Sean, is fundamentally corrupt. They are an extension of, an arm of the Democrat Party. Honestly, Sean, the media, the legacy media like CBS and ABC and NBC and every other legacy outlet exists to serve and advance the interests of the Democrat Party. Throw in New York Times, throw in Washington Post, throw in The Atlantic. They should all be required to register as a Democrat political action committee. I mean, let's just think through some of the things that you mentioned. President Trump has been in office in his second term for a year and a half and has solved problems that plagued this nation for decades, generations, or even longer. I mean, just go through the foreign policy piece here. He's completely rebalanced our trading relationship with Canada. He has protected American manufacturing and essential supply chains from China. He has completely rebalanced NATO and ensured that other nations pay their fair share. He is now pursuing peace in the Korean Peninsula, which hasn't been achieved since the armistice in the 1950s. President Trump has single-handedly toppled Maduro, freed the people of Venezuela, and secured the greatest boon for America's energy and supply chains probably in the history of our country. He's taken the fight to the drug cartels, declared them a foreign terrorist organization, used military power to fight these enemies of human civilization. And as you have mentioned, he stopped Iran, the Islamic theocracy of Iran, from obtaining a nuclear weapon that could destroy an entire city. And now you come at home, he's unleashed American energy, he's building pipelines, he's bringing the price of gas down from the heinous highs of the Biden administration, he's taken inflation from the highest level in American history down to 2%. The largest tax cut in American history, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, and he took the most unsecure, dangerous, violent, hellish border in the history of our republic, and 15 straight months, Sean, of zero releases. Zero into the country.
Yeah, there's a lot of good points there. I got another clip of them, too. There are a lot of factual points there that he brought up, and Tan suits what he's got to say. He waited 5 minutes to say it. Nothing Trump says is comprehensive. Are you 12 years old and see you're being an ass and you're wasting people's times with nonsense comments? You're living in a time where you're seeing this nation being returned to its roots, its constitutional roots. And this, I mean, my parents were watching the decline through liberalism, through overregulation, overtaxation, and the rise of Marxists in the guise of liberalism. My grandparents saw it. So we're going through something that generations have seen as a problem and a worry, and they passed away and they didn't get to see this day. And the day is here. And you're in a group that is willing to speak with you, willing to tolerate you. They'll jab back at you, but you only when you jab first. And I ask you reasonable questions. You have people in the chats asking you reasonable questions, and you come in with cheap insults. And so how old are you, Tansu? 12? Because, if you don't get your feet on the ground and answer some questions, did you ever answer the question about ID to vote? Did you ever answer that question? Because you got a short period of time to answer it. Sandman, how you doing? So you agree with voter ID? All right. Well, don't put out cheap insults anymore and engage the conversation. You don't realize that we were financing Europe's healthcare systems by paying pharmaceutical companies inflated prices, tremendously inflated prices, and Europe was paying beans. And Trump put a stop to that. Don't you think that's a good thing? No, we don't have it in place. What? I think you're just being an ass, so you got to go. Why the hell do you think we're trying to get it passed? Okay? We already have it in place, he says. Here's a big national debate about voter ID, and Tan Suit says, we already have it in place. Don't you know we already have it in place? So you're out of here. No talking to you. You waste of time. You're a horse's ass. So anyway, here's Stephen Miller again. He's out of here. Don't worry about him anymore. Here we go.
Where do I even begin with this? So let's start here. Nobody has done more to rebuild and save the Republican Party than Donald Trump since Abraham Lincoln himself. President Trump inherited a broken shell, a hollowed-out husk of a political party after the Bush years, after the Ryan years, after the sellout years, and he turned it into the working-class party, the middle-class party. And he took states that had been blue forever. He took the blue wall. He took states like Wisconsin, states like Ohio, states like Pennsylvania. He pulverized that blue wall. How many Senate races have we seen where President Trump won a state by 8 points, 9 points, 10 points, 11 points, and it was just enough to bring along the Republican senator by half a point or a point to build that Senate Republican majority? How many Senate candidates has he dragged along to victory? And how many rhinos has he forced out of the party to elect real working-class populist Republicans, people like, for example, Eric Schmidt, who represent the future of the Republican Party, where it is today? President Trump has raised more money for Republican candidates than any human in history. He has more enthusiasm and support from Republican voters than any candidate in history. I could keep going, Laura. The reality is, as he said, President Trump is dead on right here. What this comes down to is the Trump voter needs to show up in the midterm.
That's exactly right, folks. Exactly right. And he's just getting started. He's just getting started. Now you have to envision, I've got my finger up my nose to the first knuckle. We already have voter ID. We don't need any more voter ID. And Iran will want a nuclear power for nuclear reactors and would never get a weapon. And communism is fair for everybody. Now I just got my finger out of my nose, and I just stated the leftist position. Okay? Okay. Let's see. We got Stephen Miller again. Yay! Always good to listen to Stephen Miller. See, I'm well versed in the positions of the left.
Peace in the Korean Peninsula, which hasn't been achieved since the armistice in the 1950s. President Trump has single-handedly toppled Maduro, freed the people of Venezuela, and secured the greatest boon for America's energy and supply chains probably in the history of our country. He's taken the fight to the drug cartels, declared them a foreign terrorist organization, used military power to fight these enemies of human civilization. And as you have mentioned, he stopped Iran, the Islamic theocracy of Iran, from obtaining a nuclear weapon that could destroy an entire city. And now you come at home, he's unleashed American energy, he's building pipelines, he's bringing the price of gas down from the heinous highs of the Biden administration, he's taken inflation from the highest level in American history down to 2%. The largest tax cut in American history, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, and he took the most unsecure, dangerous, violent, hellish border in the history of our republic, and 15 straight months, Sean, of zero releases. Zero into the country.
Yeah, we're working with Colombia to clean that country out of the Marxist influence and the cartels, and also Mexico, and he stopped the invasion in its tracks. So here, Trump put this up. Let me see what this is. What did Trump put this up for? Let me see. What is this? It says CNN legal analysis. Eli Honig, Michael Cohen's latest statements demolish the factual basis of the hush money prosecution and conviction of President Trump. And the other thing the left keeps hammering on, he's a convicted felon. That's what he is, a convicted felon. When it's all BS charges that are being torn apart. Everybody with any sense knows it was fraud-fare, not lawfare, fraud-fare to bring these charges against Trump, and they'll be all reversed.
Anyone who cheered that hush money prosecution of Donald Trump 2 years ago has nothing left to stand on, because now the star witness, the guy who is the reason why every prosecutor who looked at this case, including the Biden DOJ, the prior liberal Democratic DA, passed on charging this case, is because they didn't trust Michael Cohen beyond a reasonable doubt. Alvin Bragg rolled that dice, and now Michael Cohen has said publicly that he, quote, felt pressured and coerced by prosecutors. So where do you stand on Michael Cohen now? If you believe he's a truth teller, then he felt pressured and coerced by prosecutors. That's not acceptable. If you believe he's a liar, then your case is built on a liar. So that case is going through its appeal process incredibly slowly. I think there are major legal infirmities with it, but now the factual predicate has collapsed as well.
The factual predicate has collapsed. You can't have charges without a predicate. You can't. And I got so much stuff to go through. But hey, I must have been saying things that were getting to the left for them to interject themselves into the conversation. And, we did have a good faith effort, right? A good faith effort at having a productive conversation. And that's what counts, folks. And what kind of hellscape would we be living in if Hillary had won? What kind of hellscape? Macron just signed, this is in France. See the little hat he's got on his head? Macron just signed, approved government euthanasia. Government euthanasia. My next broadcast, I'm going to try to get into the operation over Kiev that was happening while I was broadcasting last night. Here's a map of the various missiles, ballistic missiles. Look at that blue line that goes way to hell. Is that the ones that were launched from Korea? But anyway, we're going to talk about that. But anyway, Macron approved euthanasia. He just signed the bill. And hey, guess what? It's free. It's free. So, hey, it's a good thing, right? But anyway, no, in other words, as Pope John Paul said, a culture of death, okay, is sweeping across Europe, and it is lapping at the shores of America. And now is the time in the hour, folks. So anyway, what do I always say? I say thank you for spending your precious time with me. Before I play you this funny little video from France, and yeah, my last video did get taken down. I had to edit something out at the end. So anyway, that might happen here. If you're watching after the live stream and it doesn't play, you'll know why. So anyway, folks, as I say, thank you for spending your precious time with me. I should be going live tomorrow night. I put a link in the chats here at the end for Buy Me a Coffee. Anybody wants to go by there and help the channel out, as it is totally viewer supported. I do appreciate it. So anyway, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, folks. And as always, have a great evening. I'll be seeing you soon. Enjoy the video. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
Bonjour, bienvenue, ça va?